Hey guys, how are you doing? We're back again with Survivor South Africa. I believe this is episode 4. And last time we had PK getting voted out, which essentially made the tribe weaker. I think they only have 3 men left on their tribe. And how many women? I think four women, or is it five? 5 women. They have 5 women left and 3 men because they've voted they voted out all their guys. It's crazy that they did that, but hey, that's what they choose to do. And now that PK's gone, Tony, who wanted to vote out uh, Miriam, Miriam last time, who pitched to everyone to vote out Miriam, she's now distraught because she was like her number one ally was PK, and she starts yelling at everyone. And the one that sort of spoke back to her was Dante. As he started speaking back to her, to like kind of, she was like, "Oh, you guys did this. You made the tribe weaker, whatever. What you left me on the outs, all this stuff." And he was kind of like trying to explain to her. She starts yelling over him, and he raised his voice in return to get his point across. And she immediately started playing the victim. She was like, "You don't forget," and she got in his face. I pointed at him, and then she walked away and started crying. She started crying, and then started telling people she felt traumatized by the situation. And uh, this other dude, he was like, "You don't talk to a woman like that." I was just like confused by the whole gaslighting of the situation, where it was just like it was just two people having a disagreement, and he only raised his voice in response to her, and she got in his face, and he didn't even move. He didn't make any threatening gesture towards her at anything like that. She got in his face and started pointing at, and it was just like it was weird how they turned it around on him, and he was like, "Oh, now he he's threatening women and all this stuff," and it was just like I didn't understand what was going on. But she definitely manipulated the situation, and people fell for it. She had the tears going, and she was just crying to everyone about what was going on. And I don't know, man, it was such a crazy situation. I mean, granted, Dante, I mean, he didn't really need to confront her the way he did, but I mean, I guess he's just the kind of guy that's just not going to let someone just yell in his face. But yeah, if I was him, I wouldn't have said anything. There was no point. Like, she's already on the outs out from the alliance point of view, and just yelling back with her is only going to put a target on your back. So it was a bad gameplay move. But as a person, I understand why he did what he did. But like the whole, and she was talking about her past and how uh she's experienced abuse from men before, and she was projecting all of that stuff on him. And I was like, wow, this is some mind-blowing shit going on. So yeah, so that happened. And then on the red, that was the blue tribe. On the red tribe, um Haiti decided to sleep by the fire, because everyone's sleeping by the fire because it gets cold at night. But she slept by the fire, where her entire body is curled around the fire, which means less people, because they have a tribe of 9 or 10, and that means less people can get close enough to the fire to sleep, because she's like this, and they all are like facing outward, so more people can fit there. So she's taking up way more space. And of course, crazy cat lady. What is her name? I just knew her name, and I completely forgot it. Uh, but crazy cat lady got mad about that, and she started, saying something about it. And of course, Pinchy said something, and it became a whole nother argument that didn't really need to happen. And but while they were all sleeping by the fire, because there wasn't enough space, Dino decided to sit on a box next to the fire to sleep, right? And he's literally leaning over the fire like this, sleeping, sitting down. And he starts nodding off and he starts doing this. And I'm like, is this going to go where I think it's going to go? And no shit, dude fell asleep and fell directly into the fire. And he was able to push himself out of it, but he burnt his whole freaking hand because his dumbass went to go sleep by the fire, sitting down. There he is. There's Dino. There's the medic checking him. His hands got second-degree burns, and you can see his knees and his shoulders right there. I mean, his elbow right there. That was all in the fire. That was the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time. I couldn't believe it. Dude legit fell into the fire because he slept right next to it. That was some mind-blowing stuff, man. All right. So that happens. So he has to get patched up, and people are worried about him and whatever. There's still the situation with Crazy Cat Lady and Pinty. Tevin is trying to explain to Crazy Cat Lady that her arguing with Pinty is only going to put a target on her back. It's like, understand the situation where Pinty's doing some shady stuff, but this is a game. This is not real life. And she's like complete social justice, where she's just like, when I see something wrong, I got to say something, and I stand up for people that use. It's like, it's not a bullying situation. It's literally a game, and all the things that she's doing is putting a target on her back. And people are not saying anything about it because this is not their real life. They don't have to live with this person. They can get rid of her at any time. So they're not really saying anything about it. So they're not really being bullied in any way. So she feels that she's saving people or whatever. But the problem is, to everyone else, it seems to them that she can't control her emotions in this game, which means, especially, and she's appealing to morality in a game where a lot of people are going to have to lie. That means they can't trust her when it comes to blindsiding somebody. They can't tell her information. So you're just making yourself look worse by doing all this extra stuff. And Tevin was trying to explain that to her in not so many words, but she was not getting it across. She felt vindicated in her seeking moral justice and all that stuff. And it was just bad gameplay. All right. So it's the next day on the Blue Tribe, and Dante's apologized many times to Tony, but she's still crying and playing victim. And he called her out. He was like, I know you want to play victim and all that. I already apologized to you. I don't know what more you want from me and all. And she was just like, the way you yelled at me, I was traumatized and all this stuff. And he called it out. It was like, I'm not some man that's like abusing you. I'm not like a husband or anything like that. And she was like, you don't say anything about my husband. I was like, whoa, what is our husband putting hands on her? What was good? Was it? And he was like, I wasn't saying your husband. I was like, I was saying, like, you're not going to do that. And she was trying to do this whole thing. And then she cried again and she walked away. And yeah. And he kept arguing. He kept arguing, and no one else was saying anything. And I'm just like, Dante, what are you doing? You're doing a crazy cat lady move, and you're putting a target on your back. I understand you're in the right, but voicing it is not helping you in this game. It's just not. Well, people are playing emotional, and you're gonna get emotional in this game. It's hard to not be, but oh boy. Anyways, so Miriam, Steffi, and what was it, Meryl? They decided to officiate. I think they already started their three girls alliance already, but they now officially made it named it because I think they named it the what was it, something like the full package, right? They call themselves the full package because there we go. Show you image there. All right, you can see them there. You got Miriam, you got Meryl over here, and then Steffi over here. They call themselves the full package. I think Miriam came up with the name. She said because Steffi has the physical, I believe Meryl has the social, and she's strategic, which I believe is correct. I believe out of all the girls, Steffi is the strongest, and Meryl is very social, and she's very strategic. But she's honestly the weakest on the team, and being strategic is not helpful. It might be helpful in an alliance, in a small alliance like that, but when it comes down to the numbers, she's the most dangerous to have around, because not only is she weak, no one is going to target her first out of all the rest of them. She would be the first one to target them. So it's not a good thing to have on your team coming down to the wire, but for the moment, she's helpful. But yeah, that's their alliance. So we come to the first, the immunity challenge. All right. Immunity challenge is going to be a endurance competition. Let me see if I can get a good image of it. No. All right, so, oops, I just had it. There we go. All right, so this is what the competition is. You're going to have 3 guys and 3 girls from each team, or is it 2? I think it's 2. Okay, so it's 1 guy and 1 girl from each team, which makes up the 4, and they're going to be holding up that rope that's attached to this basket, and the rest of the team is going to be tossing sandbags. You can see the bags on the ground there into the basket, which is going to weigh it down, which makes it more difficult for the other person to hold it. All right, so the opposite team is going to be throwing, so you can see the red over here, they're going to be throwing in the blues basket, and the blue is going to be throwing in the reds basket. And their goal is to weigh down the basket, and when every member of each of a certain team drops, then they lose and the other team wins. So that is the goal of this. And obviously for the guys, the strongest was in fact Dante, and he was for the blue team. It was Dante holding for the guy, and for the girl on the blue team, it was Steffi, because she's the strongest girl. And on the red team, who do they get? Who do they get to do that? I can't remember his name. And Teresa was the girl for the red team, though, but I can't remember the guy's name. So they did that. And of course, Dante was the first one to get weighed down because they wanted to get rid of the guy first. If I was them, I would target the girl first, because it would have been easier and it would use less sandbags, and you would know right away which one you got to hit. So you just put a couple in the girls, and when you see the girl is struggling, then you start focusing on the guy. But they decided to go for the guys first, and Dante eventually had to drop, and the guy on the other side dropped, and then it came down to the girls, and in the end, Teresa couldn't hold out as long as Steffi, and the blue team ended up winning their first immunity of their entire season. All right. So congrats to them. They're finally not going to be losing a person. The red team has to be losing a person. And now they have the whole conflict between Crazy Cat Lady and Pinty, which means one of them are probably going to be going home. All right. So, and then we got Seamus. I believe Seamus is the guy on the red team who has the public hidden immunity idol that's only good for this tribal, which is the 3rd of the season, which is how long the immunity lasts. All right. So I believe the blue team also got a reward, and during the reward, they were all like openly looking for a clue to an idol, but I don't think anyone found it. Yeah, I don't think anyone found it. So yeah, no one found it. And We go back to the red team and Crazy Cat Lady, Tanya, that's her name, Tanya. Crazy Cat Lady's Tanya. She's still having a problem with Pinty, and she keeps bringing it up. And you can see her here. See Tanya here. She's talking to Tevin, and he's trying to explain to her that she needs to calm down and not keep going after Pinty like that. She's like, when I see something, I gotta say, and all this stuff, and it's just unnecessary. You're playing a game. This is not real life. All right. So eventually she took a walk off and she went to go talk to Pinty about it. And Pinty didn't want to argue with her. So Pinty walked away and she was just there left yelling to herself. And she eventually walked away. She walked away to the beach, sat by her Crazy Cat Lady self, and she decided that she's just going to shut up about it. She's just not going to talk about it. So she goes off and starts singing and acting all happy, which freaks people out because her emotions are flip-flopping all over the place. And now they don't really want, they can't really trust her. So like I said, being unstable like that is just not going to, people are not going to be able to trust you. So that's what she chose to do. Now, the girls, right here. So the girls over here by the watering hole right there, and they're talking about her. They're talking about her emotions all over the place, and they're afraid. She says, "I don't have the courage to tell her that the vote is probably going to be on her." She says she doesn't want to deal with it. This lady over here is pushing to get her voted out because she doesn't trust her, and she's like because she's too emotional. They're all saying this while they thought she was over there picking firewood or whatever, but actually while she was picking firewood, she ran up next to where they were getting water, and she was hidden behind the tree, and she was listening to their entire conversation, and she heard everything they said about her. So I'm like, all right, good. She has information now. She knows where the vote is kind of going to go. She can use this information to her advantage. Because keep in mind, one of the girls was Teresa, who she covered for when Teresa made up that lie about Tevin having the immunity idol. She could now use that to go to Tevin and tell Tevin what actually happened with Teresa, use that and kind of build up momentum and kind of shift the votes off of her. So I'm like, I'm excited. I'm thinking she's gonna make a great play. Nope. She decides to go and confront those two ladies straight to their face, confront them, let them know that she heard everything they said, and then tell them, you have to have the courage in this game. If you think I think she said something, if you think following Teresa Pinty is going to keep you safe or whatever, you're not going to be able to win the money. And I'm just like, what in the asinine, ridiculous, dumb, like, why would you do this? Why would you now alienate those two people? That doesn't make any sense. How's that? You're guaranteed you're not going to have their votes now. You try to reassure them. No. Confront them? What? I just don't understand why. So she did that. They're still having the argument with Pinty and all this stuff. And Pinty then asked Seamus if he can use if he can give her the idol, and he sympathized with her and all this stuff, but like that would be a dumb move for him to do because that would let people know where his alliances lie, which could bite him in the ass. And there's some guys on his tribe who are actually targeting him because they see all of the friendships that he has. So it's not a good idea for him to do that at all. All right, so go to tribal. They talk. They talk about the whole situation with Pinty and Tanya, and they go to the votes. And Sheamus uses the idol for himself, and the vote is one pinty, which came from Tanya, and every other vote went to Tanya, and Tanya ended up going home. Unsurprisingly, she made all of the mistakes that you shouldn't make in this game. She did it. I couldn't believe it. But till next time.